Good morning and welcome to Presence of Light with Charlie Riverman Bergeron here on Humanity Healing. It's a joy to be here speaking to you this morning. And I see somebody arriving, which is always a joy for me. So welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm going to give a few minutes for people. Rachel, seeing some people on the sidelines. That's good. I like to interact with you and I'm going to try to do that more. Sometimes I can do it and sometimes I can't. But each of you are welcome here in my heart space. And I just want you to gather within your own presence. And I want you to remember this morning Chris and Leonie Buck, who are the beautiful souls who bring us humanity healing and have done so for years. Chris is having his surgery, and I believe, and Leonie won't be with us this morning. So we offer our prayers and best wishes to them both as they go through their daily walk today. And may the outcome be beneficial to not only them, but also to all of us. And we thank them from the bottoms of our hearts for this opportunity to gather as humanity healing. Good morning, Joelle, Dana. What I wanted to do this morning, and I don't know how it's going to sound, but I have, you see my crystal bowls in the background. And I wanted to ring the bowl that aligns with our crown chakra this morning because the talk is about a collective arising. And that arising is an inner arising within us into our higher multidimensional self. And that's basically what this morning's talk is going to be about. So just take a deep breath and we'll see if we can get this to play so that you can hear it without too much distortion. Thank you. Let us begin. The opening of that gateway is important for all of us in these times that we're going through right now. And each of you may be experiencing, I'm going to move this out of the way, we are experiencing a lot of confusion, a lot of stress, a lot of suffering on many different levels. And we're questioning, why is this happening? Why is this happening to me? I don't believe I've done anything to deserve this. And so we go within and we ask ourselves, what is this all about? The message I arose this morning, I woke up at 7:07 and sevens seem to be playing out on my week this week. And so I looked up the angel number 707 and the message was really a positive one. And it was saying, you deserve accolades for the mental, spiritual, and physical work you have been doing in your life. And as I receive these messages, I'm just one person and part of the collective. And each of you are one person as part of the collective. So as these messages come to me, it's my responsibility to share them with you so that you also know that you are part of the whole, that you're not alone, that you're not the only one who is expressing or feeling what you're going through. And the message goes on to say, you are helping yourself and many others with your current life choices and actions. And this is where, once again, where we come together as a collective in sharing choices and actions. They're not all just about us. While on a personal level, in our own home, in our own shoes and clothes, yes, we make personal decisions. But the important thing to start to look at now is how those personal choices affect the whole collective of humanity. And this is what humanity healing is all about. And this great organization that was started years ago led me or helped me start my path work, because they were always promoting the fact, look around you, look outside of yourself. You're not just this one being in the world. We are humanity, and we're healing. Now, it goes on to say, to encourage us to see ourselves clearly and become self-aware of how we can develop new life skills and be more joyful. For many of you, as I know, some of you personally are going through some really tough times, whether it's physical, emotional, or on other levels. The process that we're going through is really part of an old statement that I never liked. And it's called, life is a school. And I wasn't fond of school when I was a child, and I'm sure many of you weren't either. We were not, we did not relish being told what to do, what to wear, how to talk, what color to put on the paper. And many of us were reprimanded constantly. And nobody likes to be told what to do. The interesting thing today is when I looked at that message, life is your school, I added the words, but you are never alone. And here's the important thing, is most of us have felt alone in our lives. We felt that we were just this one little tiny individual, and everybody around us was picking on us or telling us what to do. And we developed a whole life pattern based around that. I'm going to call it a theory, that we are pretty much ignorant of what's going on around us. We come in as children, we've forgotten who we are truly, and we need to be taught how to operate in this world. And the operation system of this world was designed and created by people who ultimately benefit most from it. And many of us just became a small particle in this larger machine, which fed a thought form of how life should be. The truth always remained that we were highly spiritual beings of light, of love, and peace. And we were just here embodying this physical vehicle, this body. And that was the teaching, was the learning, was how do we, as these amazingly powerful creator beings, enter into this small vessel on this planet, in this small far out place we call our galaxy, the Milky Way, and become that small. And how how do we operate at that level? And we do it both individually and collectively. So what invariably happens is, because of the dimensional qualities, the third dimension, and the energies that are here, we have had to live in somewhat of a very limited existence. What I'm talking about today is a collective arising. That limitedness, the limits are off. So it's like you have a car and you put a governor on it so it can only go so fast. All right, because you don't want people speeding. You don't want people to do too much too soon because they'll get hurt. So we limit what can happen. Well, right now, and especially since this last 11-11-11 gateway, and we're going through 11-11-11s every day. Yesterday was an 11-11-11. What we're doing is repeating, we're revving up and pulling off all the governors of life. And we're accessing the freeway where we can actually start to think and move at speeds and that, I don't like the word speeds, but at a pace which matches our energy. And so humanity doesn't have control of that. They have control of the physical earth. They have control of building houses. This is what we have. It's the humanity part of us is a very limited experience. And this collective arising is what's occurring to all of us. And in the process, we're hurting, we're seeing pain and suffering. But as I've said many times in my talks, is there's no such thing as death. That we've been made to believe that in order to keep us following these rules and guidelines. And I gave the symbol of triangle to somebody yesterday and explained to them that on this lower level here, this bar, you have positive and negative. You have duality. But we're arising up the middle. We're rising up the middle to this peak, to the point, to the top of the pyramid. And we're not doing that on our own. We need each other to do that. In order to do that, it's the collective energy that we represent that is going to feed all of us to rise in love, to rise in grace, to rise in peace. And what would that look like? What would that really look like if we do that, if we accomplish this amazing this feature of life that well, I don't know if anybody's there, or my house has lost power, and I don't know what that's all about, but needless to say, I'm going to try and do this again. I'm going to shut down Humanity Healing. Okay, looks like we're running on battery power, but that's okay. I'll go from here. Don't know what's going to happen, whether it's going to come out or not. Looks like somebody is here. Thank you. Interesting. There may not be any replay of this, so it's for those of you who are live. Here it is. This is what we go through. This is life as the lesson. The teacher. I have to laugh. I have to laugh because it's so totally in alignment with what I was beginning to say. Is that this is an amazing journey we're beginning. So for those of you who are rejoining me, I don't know how this is going to play out in the replays, nor am I really overly concerned. But the message was that it's collective arising, and all of us are in this together. So as this chaos and confusion happens here to me while I'm going live, this is much like what's going on in your lives, that all of a sudden, out of nowhere, it seems like everything just goes haywire. We can take that personally. And we can say, oh, somebody's trying to do something to me, or this is happening, or whatever. The truth is, none of that is real. It's all an illusion that we've been taught to do, is point the finger and blame somebody else, instead of standing in our power and saying, I am bigger than all of this. This is not just about me. This is about me as part of this larger group called humanity. Doesn't mean I have to agree with everybody. Doesn't mean that I have to think like everybody else. But we're all going through this rising up. And we're doing it, as somebody put it the other day, and it hit me real hard. This may be the first time in the history of evolution that we're going to do it all together at the same time. And when that hit home to me, I realized that we have these guides that we speak to, or that speak to us, and continually guide us, and we, follow their advice. Many of you don't trust them, just as I didn't in the beginning. I didn't know who they were or what they were. I just called them angels. But they're parts of ourself. Many of them are a part of ourselves that comes from a different dimension of ourselves. And the gateways are now open so that we can hear it all, and we can integrate it now here in this third dimensional physical vehicle. So I wanted to read this message from Azrael, who is part of the Great White Brotherhood. And it says, one day all worldly desire, all criticisms, all judgments will dissolve in wisdom's strong light, and all life's upwelling springs will be renewed. In this time, many glorious visions will greet your sight. Love will in all her beauty once more repeat her sacred vows, and truth will smile upon you. And this is where we're headed as we rise. We rise in love to this presence of being that we truly are on monthly dimensional levels. And it's through kindness and tolerance to all living things on this planet that we're going to be able to rise up into this amazing teaching that being in this physical body has to offer us. And it's our divine radiance that is going to help others see that in themselves. So collectively, I'm trying to play with my cell phone. Okay, so now I can see some of your posts. Got instinct, can you love and still say no to being used? Those are beautiful aspects, and thank you for sharing those. But again, this is the whole thing, is we can do all of this. We can do all of this. This is how amazing we really are, and this is what this collective arising is about, is to let go of all of the stories that we've been told. No, you can't do this, you're not that, you're just this. All of those limitations. We're entering a period where it never happened before. So if it never happened before, if humanity never arose as a collective before in the history of humanity, however millions of years old that is, because our history is a lie, and we're finding that out more and more, So the truth is, how many millions of years may we have been doing this? We don't know. But if this is the first time we're going to do this as collective, instead of being perhaps eradicated or moved somewhere else and transplanted, etc., arising together as a collective, what that says to me is we have worked for lifetime after lifetime, whether you believe in reincarnation or not personally, but how many lives of people, how many times people have come here, how many people, all of that collectively, that energy is moving us into the grace of being able to rise together as one humanity. Sounds impossible, sounds improbable, sounds crazy, but my message today is I want you to stay open. Keep your minds open to the fact that we as a collective, not just as individuals, but we as a collective have a responsibility to rise as far as we can personally, through our personal problems, through our suffering, through our pain, through our illness, through our mourning, through all that life has to throw at us. And remember that we are so much more. These are my messages. This was the message to me this morning after a week of dealing with humanity at the street level and looking around and watching others interact with others and actually pray, not pray as in prayer, but pray as in an animal, preys on another. And witnessing it and feeling it in my heart and knowing that all I can do in this moment is send them love, both to the perpetrator and to the victim. That neither one of them, although they felt the energy of what they were doing, were consciously aware of what they were creating. It doesn't make it any less than what it was. It was horrible to witness. And that's what many of us are doing now. We're witnessing. We're witnessing the horrors. We're witnessing the capabilities of human, divine beings being so nasty to each other. And the lesson is, let's rise. It's time. We've come, we've seen, we've accomplished. We know it doesn't work anymore. We've earned the right to rise together. So I wrote this morning, every moment is a new opportunity in which our choices, rather than judgments, propel us forward in our evolutionary spiraling through what we see as space and time. What appears as our rising in consciousness and conscious awareness is actually we are moving or expanding into our multi-dimensional self. And so I see you say it's a karmic bond. The time of karma is ending. The time of all of these things is ending because there is no time. Time, as I say many times, is an illusion. We're spiraling forward. We're spiraling forward. We could always move through space. If you look at the trajectory of the what we call the galaxy, it spirals through what we call space and time. Space and time is really a construct that we've created in order for this human mind to understand. When we move beyond this human mind and start to live from our hearts,
we realize that there's nothing wrong with this. It's just not all true. That there's something more. And the reason we're beginning to see that is because on our multidimensional genetic pattern, 22 levels of ourselves. That I understand, there's 22 levels at this point. I call them the crystalline collective of 22. The crystalline collective consciousness of 22. So for me, there's 22 aspects that I can draw from when I can let go of this moment on what's happening right here. This is what each of us has the power to bring through. And whether it's the full 22 or it's 6 or it's 8, it doesn't matter. What matters is that we tap into this greater multidimensional self and learn to trust it. Maybe in the beginning you'll need to think of them as guides. Maybe in the beginning you'll have to let go of your construct of this is all there is in life and expand your consciousness without saying, oh, I'm crazy. 27 years ago, I was guided after my near death to not go near any psychiatrists, psychologists, or anybody that was just recording information and trying to reinterpret it into the common third dimensional flow of life in order for them to expound on it as if they were experts. I don't try to do that myself. I live every day just like you do. But this is the gift, that I'm given this vision. My next statement was, we are moving through all of this evolutionary process while still embodied in our physical form. We're not going to, we're doing this. This is what we're doing. And for many, it will sound impossible, bizarre. But every one of you are feeling this on some level. And for some, it's causing distress. For some, it's causing pain. For some, it's making your physical ailments flare up. Move through them. Keep moving through them. It's not the end. We're far from the end, because the end is this radiant beauty and grace that each of us truly are. We're moving out of fear into ease and grace and being guided through it just by trusting our hearts. The teachings that come to the mind are wonderful, but they can't compare with the wisdom that we are now receiving through our hearts. So it may sound a little crazy today, but that's okay, because every day is another moment, another spiral, another loop around the spiral, but we're always moving forward. There's no going back. We're amazing, truly amazing. Riding the wave, ride it. Sound crazy? No, I thank you for not sounding crazy. I'm just trying to express it as I understand it. So for each of you, you may have your own understanding that is more comfortable. My position is only to trigger that energy in you. And that's my purpose here. And that's all our purpose here right now, is to find the people that we can talk to on this level and share. Open your hearts and begin to share with them some of your visions, some of your thoughts, some of your ideas, without being fearful. Fear is the stop sign. When we go into fear, we come to stop. It's like a roadblock. Move beyond it. Know that we're expanding into this beautiful, multidimensional self that we have always been, but could never see, could never feel, except for a few of who we would call the enlightened masters. When we look at the enlightened masters of our human history, this is basically, in simple terms, what they did. They opened, like the lotus, to the higher realms of themselves. It's not somebody else speaking through us that's important. It's we speaking through us. And we are just amazing. We are all one. I am that. Beautiful. Thank you. As I go to close this, because I don't know what time I've been on or not, or whether the first part is going to end up or the second part, I don't know. And that's why I love life, because it's full of surprises. It's full of surprises. The biggest surprise is, how do we deal with it? How do we handle it? And as you witness today in me, laugh, smile. Know that no matter what happens out there, we are amazing beings of peace, light, and love. So in closing, I had written some words, and then I'm going to recite something that somebody else wrote this week that struck the chords of many hearts. But first I will read mine, and it was, "May we assist all humanity in this, which is a very dark hour. First, by truly loving ourselves, and then by sending out our love to all who are suffering." So it's basically simple. It's compassion. Just exercise compassion on all levels that you're given the opportunity to. That's all. Doesn't have to be great, doesn't have to be fancy. Just have compassion in your heart. And this last statement was written by a woman named Heidi Little, and she's going to interview me, I think, next week. But she's been involved with children, and she's music, and I don't know her whole story, but I know that for years she has been in the forefront of sharing with others and uplifting their hearts through many different ways. So I'm looking forward to talking to her. But these were her words that she put out on Facebook. "I am going to imagine everyone healed on the entire planet at the same time until it happens." And so, my dearly beloved friends around the world and my family, I love you, I thank you, and I respect you. And I apologize for the interference here, but I still have no power for whatever reason. And as you can see, I'm still full of power. The power of peace, light, and love. And through grace, I offer it to you. May your week be filled with light and love. May your consciousness be shifted in ways that uplift and enhance every aspect of your beingness. And may the gateways that are opening now within you trickle the information down into this third dimensional self and truly light you up as the candles that we need here in the darkness. Blessings of peace, light, and love. I'm going to sign off for now, and thank you for joining me this morning. It's been a pleasure, and may you all be uplifted. Bye bye.